Joining me now to discuss their investigation into these big tech oligarchies and the president and founder of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton. Tom, thanks for coming on the program. How you doing, sir?
Good to be with you, and thank you for having me.
Man, you guys are busy. I swear every time I turn around, I look, Judicial Watch has either another investigation or a lawsuit or something. Thank goodness for folks like you and our other friends out there from Project Veritas, Just the News, you name it. We've got to keep pressure on these big tech jerks. I don't know what else to call them. There's other words I would call them, but I might get in trouble. So this latest one, I saw that you guys investigated Iowa, but I'm also seeing other reports that people are confirming this happened in California and several other states as well, correct?
Yeah, last week we found California Secretary of State officials were working with big tech to censor Judicial Watch and me personally and others who were asking questions about the elections and raising concerns about the elections. And then we found out as well that Iowa had specially targeted Judicial Watch over our criticism of Iowa's failure to maintain clean election rolls, as the numbers we found indicated. And they said, oh, no, that's not right, which is one thing. They can dispute whatever they want. That's fine. But it's another thing for the government then to take additional steps to tell a third party, a media entity or a big tech entity in this case, to take our stuff down. So Facebook ended up censoring in part what we were doing. Twitter didn't even want to go there. And you have the email showing Iowa's officials complaining Twitter didn't want to play ball. So you've got California behind big tech censoring government officials, Iowa behind big tech censoring government officials. So there's a big lie out there, Dan, is that this suppression and censorship of American citizens is a private matter, and therefore it's allowed under our constitutional system. Well, actually, when you've got the government involved and using these big tech operations as a cutout to suppress information, then it becomes a constitutional matter and very much a matter of law and order.
Yeah, to me, it sounds like an abuse of power. I mean, it's one thing, and Tom, you've been on the show before. We've had plenty of folks on discussing how these big tech oligarchies are censoring us. I mean, we got the little fact check thing every time you post something about COVID or the election. We know they're doing that. But to have an actual government agency like a Secretary of State to send emails to the big tech boys and girls and say, we don't think this story's accurate, you should get rid of it, which I don't know what, and I'm not going to ask you how you get your information, so I don't know what's in these emails, but that's what it sounds like. I mean, this is big government stepping in with big tech to censor what you're putting out there. And you obviously had, because I know you guys are thorough, you had the evidence to prove that the voter rolls had not been purged and correct, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. They were arguing over numbers with us, which is just, which is fine. But to go and then try to take our material down. And in California, we had sued. They settled with us. They were going to clean up in LA County up to 1.5 million names from the rolls. I talked about that in the video, and they wanted the video taken down. And YouTube did take it down. So you have Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. And in the case of California, they're boasting of 24 Americans whose posts were censored as a result of government interference. And it doesn't mean that all these posts are accurate or the government wasn't right to say, hey, that's not right. But you can't, as a matter of law, and frankly, as a matter of constitutional governance, go in and censor citizens because you think what they're saying about a matter of public policy is not accurate.
Yeah, I mean, we expect it from the big tech boys and girls, right? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. That's all we've seen now for the last, I would say they obviously stepped it up right before the election, but a good year or two where they've really just hammered conservatives. But again, I'm just going to hammer this home to the viewers if they're just tuning in, to understand that state officials reach out and tell them we don't like something Judicial Watch did. That goes above and beyond corruption. And I'm so glad that you're exposing this and letting everyone in this country know exactly what happened in at least 2 of these states. And again, like I said, I don't want to give away any of your methods, but I'm sure it happened in many, many more states. And I'm positive you're looking into that probably, right, Tom?
Oh, you betcha. We're also worried about it at the federal, we're worried about it at the federal level. You have big tech admitting, well, this material conflicts with WHO's standards on COVID discussions or their thinking. Therefore, we're going to suppress it. So they are arguing that they have a right to suppress information because people's concerns and expressions about COVID and treatments and such are at odds with government officials' discussions about it.
Yeah.
But this is, they kind of admit it, and now we show proof positive. Then it's more than just they're just following traditional public guidance. No, they're coordinating directly behind the scenes. And I suspect we're going to not only find it more in the election area, but in the COVID area, and who knows what else.
I want to pivot here just a smidge since you were just talking about the federal government, and it's right there in your name, Judicial Watch. How about the DOJ and their mistreatment, let's call it that, and their bias towards conservatives? And I specifically mean how they're treating Mr. Giuliani and the case they're investigating with any connections to the Ukraine, even supposedly, if you listen to some liberal rags, OAN's involved, which some papers had to retract that, talk about that later. But how they treat conservatives differently. We haven't heard anything from the DOJ or FBI about their investigation into Hunter's laptop they've had since, what, December of 19. But by golly, we know awful lot about Mr. Giuliani, which the raid just happened, a few days ago.
Yeah, all sorts of interesting leaks about that. Look, Rudy Giuliani is a hero who highlighted almost single-handedly major corruption issues concerning this president of the United States, Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. He was working, and separately, also they were doing the work. Joe Geneva and Victoria Tenzing, two other lawyers that you may have had on your program, or OAN and generally, they were targeted with this raid over these Foreign Agent Registration Act issues, which are basically pretextual. It's kind of like getting your home raided because someone may have seen you jaywalking somewhere. It's pretty clear it's a retaliation for blowing the whistle and highlighting Biden corruption. And again, of course, it's about getting Trump. And if you want to know further about the corruption, because you can't separate the two, is not only the improper raids, but also the improper leaks associated with the raids. Not only are the leaks of violating the privacy of those being targeted, they probably involve classified information and otherwise protected information, and they're also lies. So they were trying to smear OANN, they were trying to smear Rudy Giuliani, they were trying to smear Ron Johnson, and they were lying about it.
They sure
and
were.
They've had to retract it specifically with respect to you. So you know what? If you have government officials raiding someone's home and then lying about it and smearing others in lying about it, I tell you what, that's not the constitutional system I'm familiar with. We might as well be living in another country in terms of a totalitarian dictatorship that thinks they can raid the homes of citizens and then smear them in the media to try to destroy them.
Well, we're going to discuss more of that with, I believe, our next guest, Adam Gillette, Accuracy in Media, of course, you know him, and discuss the fact that they decided to lie about OAN. And so far, only 3 have retracted their lies about this network. But that's okay. There'll be many, many more that fall with their lies. Tom Fitton, President, Judicial Watch, thanks for coming on the program, filling us in about
more defendants in the defamation lawsuit, Dan.
Yes. I'm sure there will be a lot more. There's so many lawsuits going on, from your organization now to ours, Project Veritas, you name it. I love how all of this fake news media, which our great president told us about for many, many years, didn't he, is all coming to fruition. People are seeing it now because they've made up these lies, and now folks like yourself, our network, other organizations have the guts, the wherewithal, the intestinal fortitude to sue them for their lies. And guess what? What's the old phrase? The chickens are coming home to roost.
That's right.
Tom, thanks for coming on the program. Best of luck to you. Please let us know as you find more of these states that we're working hand in hand with big tech. We want to expose them with you.
Thank you.